of us that are around presently. I don't know, maybe you can actually see me properly. My Okay. From the discussion today, what we are going to be looking at is the 20. Hello. My network.
Go ahead. Can hear you. Go ahead. Mutan, go ahead. Your category, we can hear you.
Yes. So, sorry for the delay. So, today happened to be the first edition that we'll be having in this 2025, which happens to be the 28th edition of the program that we'll be having for long. And the topic is going to be data-driven decision making and engineers' perspectives. We have some of our guests around in person of our mother, Professor Adenike Oshofiso. She happens to be the first female in West Africa to have badged PhD, the first female to have badged PhD in computer science. We also have our the guest of honor, our former HOD in person of Professor Festus Oyawale, is presently in the Covenant University. And we also have our chairman in person of Professor Funlade Sumola, is in Hertfordshire University in the United Kingdom. And the host is no other person other than our prof, Professor Victor Oladokun, who happens to be the present HOD of the department. And I am the moderator, also an alumni of the department. My name is Dr. Ganiu Ajishegiri. I will be the one that will be moderating the program today. And I believe that the program is going to be interesting, as we've been having it before, and we are going to enjoy it. So I will, without wasting much of our time, I will want the guest, the chairman, to commence give us his opening talk. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I'm just wondering whether you can actually see me now and hear me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's nice. Joining you today on our talk. Of course, I'm always grateful and do appreciate the privilege of attending events at IPE UI. I'm always appreciative of those opportunities. I think I know we don't have much time, but I will first start by saying it's always emotional for me returning to my former institution and department. I can recollect those days. I think 85, 86, 87, 88 was one of the best years I've done in the university as a student and as a lecturer. I remember those days with dedicated guys, forward-looking, and who established the department. Uh, I did join before I left for UK, and the one thing that I'm really happy for is the development that continues to take place. I know people like Professor Lule is still there. I do know that Professor Charles retired of recent, but the new leadership of the department keeps evolving, and it's my prayer that God continues to bless that department, and our department and the people there would continue to succeed in Jesus' name. I pray that it's my prayer that God will reward each and every one of you in what we do at the department. Having said that, I think the other thing I think I must say is that um, Nigerians and Africans actually are really enterprising, very intelligent and smart. And I say that because I meet Nigerians in all walks of life in UK, where where I reside and I work, and I can see the magnificent things that we Nigerians can do actually. Even in my university, I lecture actually. I lecture in engineering, and while I focus more on MSc students, I see quite a lot of Nigerians coming to join my MSc programs, and almost every year, I see quite a good number of graduates from our departments, in the department at UI. And guess what? They achieve distinctions. So I just think that the training, the education that they obtain at the department at UI is outstanding, and I think it's world class in my view, given what I've experienced. So before I come quickly to this particular talk that we have, I think it's very important for us that are in the diaspora to not stop supporting the university, the university and our department. Support could be in various forms, but in whatever form we can, I think we need to keep supporting the department to grow. And that's one of the things I ask really. Today's talk, I wouldn't, um, I wouldn't be too, I wouldn't take too much time, but today's talk is more about excellence really, and excellence is driven by data. In today's world, data is key. Uh, in many industries, manufacturing, production services, decision making is dependent on, good decision making is dependent on good data. And not just good data, timely data as well. But we are so fortunate in the world, and things keep improving based on this Industry 4.0 philosophy technologies, for example, that we now have technologies, tools to support us. For example, uh, Internet of Things, industrial Internet of Things, for example, are driving data uh, in a big way. So of course we can talk about big data etc, but fundamentally, the quality of data, the timeliness of data has now improved, and people are now, when I say people, I mean managers and the industry, the automated processes, etc., can now share information more quickly and in a better way and provide adequate visibility to their operations, thus increasing the uh, quality of decisions that we make. I wouldn't spend too much time on this. I would acknowledge our expert who is going to give us an interesting talk from what I've seen. And I would thank him for accepting the invitation to come and talk today. And I would spend not too much time. Can I actually call you Gani, or you want me to stick to its formal name?
No, I'm okay, sir. I'm okay, sir, with can
Okay,
you.
thank you. Yeah, by your first name, Ganiyu. I'm pleased to really have you today, and I know the organizers have talked quite highly of you. I don't think I met you at at the uni, uh, but no, I didn't. But welcome, and I wish you good luck in the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the beautiful talk you've given us. And without wasting much of our time, I will quickly call on our mother, who happens to be the chairperson, who happens to be the special guest of honor for today, in person of Professor Oshofison, who happened to be our mother. We've known her for a long period of time. She has more than 45 years experience as an academician, and she is the first professor of computer science, as I've mentioned, and also first Nigerian woman to hold a PhD in computer science. She was the pioneer director of University of Ibadan School of Business, also member of African Academic Board of SAP. I'll call on you, Ma, to quickly give us your speech, Ma.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've said people are very thrilled about this topic, data, decision making, and engineering perspective. If you all know me, I call myself in data miner. And anybody who came from an inaugural lecture that I spoke about data, transforming data just data gold. For me, data is the key element, as Chairman said. Without data, you cannot. And that is why I'm at the vanguard of this thing. I said anybody wants to give us support, any international organization wants to give us support, if they have it in their condition, that whatever data we get from that, from research we are doing, that the data belongs to them, please do not take that support. Please do, because at the end of the day, it's another slavery. And this slavery is going to worse than former slavery that went. Data is very important. Without data, we cannot do anything. Unfortunately, at this part of the world, we still keep data anyhow. There's so many information gathered, files, all those flat files, cabinets, that you just down to So I'm very, very happy that the engineers are now also thinking about data, that data is very, very important from them. And I'm just waiting to have whet my appetite to see how it is from the engineering perspective. I already know what it is from computer science perspective, but tonight I'm going to learn new things because I'm always really learning. So I know I'm going to learn again. So I'm very happy that Department of Industrial Engineering of topic very timely, and I see if I have my way. I think that will have better everybody, but especially economical in a university system. Start taking data very, very, because for me it's not even good to do that without data and with data. So look at our data, study them, remind them. For example, the problems we have in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, all those things we talk like this, all this Boko Haram thing that you have, if you only study the pattern of the way all these Boko Haram things happen, study the data, you'll be able to pick up all the people involved. How did you think Obama was able to pick Obama by saying like this? Data is very, very important. So I thank the organizer for choosing this topic. And tonight, I know I'm going to land. So, Dr. Gani, I hope I also you can call me Dr. Gani. I'm waiting to land a lot of this tonight. So, I'm very grateful for the department for inviting me part of this online black college training, whatever it's. I'm very, very happy that I'm invited, and I will also invite everybody to the science part of that, but also because today we talk about modern approach and back. So you need to know from professors, you need to know from engineering content, you need to know from medical content. So thank the organizers for inviting me, and Dr. Ganedi, I'm really good to help. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Ma, for the beautiful talks and the goodwill message. I will also now call on our father also, who happens to be former HOD of our department before he moved to Covenant University. He's a professor of mechanical engineering in Covenant University. He also has about 40 years academic experience. As I said, he's a counselor, he's a mentor, and he's also an excellent administrator. I will call on him to give us his own goodwill message as well, and that's Professor Festus Oyawale. Welcome, sir. Hello, sir.
I'm aware, Dr. Adeyeye. We rep him. So, you may kindly unmute Dr. Adeyeye.
Oh, okay. Hello, sir. You can unmute yourself now. Try to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I'm standing in for Professor Oyawale. He is unavoidably absent. And,
hello, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, all right.
Hello,
So,
sir. We can hear you, but the echo is much.
I'm standing in for Professor Oyawale. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very clear.
Okay, all right. He is unavoidably absent, and he regrets not being able to be here physically. He has asked me to stand in for him. He sends his apology, and he had discussed with the HOD and the organizers of the program. He has sent his speech. Chairman, members of the organizing committee, the distinguished lecturer, Engineer Rawo, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to stand on established protocol. I commend the organizers of this program, the head of department, and members of his team for the great job they are doing on this lecture series. In addition, it is so refreshing that the lecturer is an alumnus of the department. There are several engaging decision-making techniques that can be applied in industry. These include big data analytics, which helps organizations to reach better decisions through its speed and efficiency. Business intelligence, which helps industry to better analyze data. And drone technology that can be used to gather intelligence for agriculture. Unfortunately, chief executives in some cases, especially in our country, ignore technical information. For instance, a chief executive of a brewery was making decisions without reference to the company's accounting data. Of course, the brewery went under. Several similar examples abound. Nigeria needs valid data on demography, agriculture, and just like Professor Suffisan said, there are many challenges that confront us as a nation, and data will help a lot to mitigate these problems. Several similar examples abound, and we need data. I believe that Engineer Rawo will do justice to this. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this lecture session. It is my great joy to congratulate every participant, especially the men and women who devote their time to making this university a center of excellence, and in particular, Department of Industrial Engineering. I note the presence of Professor Sofisa. It has been quite an age. She has been dealing with issues of this type for a long time. I greet you. So, Professor Yawole asked me to greet you and everybody involved in this program, and we look forward to benefiting from other lectures in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that, for standing in for Professor Oyawale. I will quickly call on Engineer Esther Bello to give us a citation of the guest speaker for today.
Okay, thank you very
ahead.
much.
Yeah.
I would like to stand on existing protocol. Good evening, everyone. This is the citation of Engineer C.C. Arawo. Engineer C.C. Arawo's story is one of passion, dedication, and unwavering commitment, both to his cherished family and his esteemed profession. At home, he is a loving husband, proud father of two, a daughter and a son, drawing inspiration from their joy and happiness. Professionally, Engineer Arawo is a revered figure in the engineering community. His affiliations with the Nigerian Society of Engineers and the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers, along with his status as a current registered engineer, highlights his dedication to his field. His impressive array of IT certifications, which include data analysis, ITIL Foundation, CompTIA A+, Network Plus, IT Operations Specialist, Cybersecurity Analyst, Scrum Master, Scrum Product Owner, Advanced Architecting on AWS, etc., showcases his relentless pursuit of knowledge and excellence. His academic journey took him through the halls of the University of Ibadan, where he earned both his MSc and BSc in Industrial and Production Engineering. This strong foundation paved the way for a career marked by significant achievements. At Champion X Oilfield Solution Nigeria, he excelled as a district representative/sales engineer and IT client support analyst. His expertise led him to Champion X Canada ULC, where he continues to thrive as an IT operations analyst. Additionally, he contributes as a project consultant at Tyrek Fire Consulting Limited, Canada, and as the visionary managing director and founder of Snaps Global Services Nigeria Limited. His strategic prowess is further reflected in his role as director at Airwit and Sandler Limited, Nigeria. Sorry. Engineer Arabo's journey is a testament to the power of passion and perseverance. His story intertwines the warmth of family life with the rigor of professional excellence, illustrating how one can achieve greatness without sacrificing the joy and love that make life truly meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Engineer C.C. Arawo.
Thank you, Engineer Bello, for that. We now call on our today's guest lecturer, in person of Engineer Charles Arawo. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chairman, last day, I think Somola, the special guest of honor, Professor Adenike Osifasun, and Dr. G.A. Aji Shekari. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name very well. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in attendance, all protocol duly observed. First of all, I would like to thank the department for inviting me to be the one to present the lecture for today. I am highly honored. I really appreciate, and I hope I'll be able to do justice to this topic today. All right. Before I start, the chairperson and the guest honor, our guest of honor, they've already done justice. In fact, part of the problem is already half solved. Well, the chairman talked about data, and our guest of honor also stressed the need for us to use this to use data to solve the problems of Nigeria. So I would like to start by sharing my slides. A minute, let me share my screen. I believe we can all see my screen. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So the topic, data-driven decision making. So first of all, we're looking at this is purpose, process, and payoff. More like the agenda for today's lecture. So we're talking about data-driven decision making and how do we go about that. So for today, we're looking at, first of all, the introduction. That's introduction to data-driven decision making. Henceforth, I'll use the term DDM. We'll look at the benefits of DDM in engineering, the key components of DDM. Then we'll also look at some tools and techniques for data analysis, because DDM is all about data analysis. And Looking at the time I was allocated, for this lecture, I'm trying to see how I'll be able to squeeze in, because this topic is really broad, and so I'll try as much as I can, not to dwell too much on theory, because I believe everybody can always Google some of these things out. So I'll try to allocate a time for us to actually put these things into practice more like, so I've selected 2 tools, that's Power Query and Power BI. So I'm going to do some demonstration if time allows us, so that for those, because some of these tools are quite expensive, and but the Power BI desktop is a free app that anybody can get. And I know in Nigeria, most people use Microsoft applications. So that's why I chose this, so that to be able, then the Power Query also is if you use, for those that use Excel, Power Query is also embedded in Excel. So you can also use Excel, although Excel has some limitations, but I will just introduce us to that as well. Then we'll look at the challenges in DDM as well. Then we'll look at some practical applications. Then we'll look at future trends. Then we conclude. So what is the payoff for you as everybody? I believe everyone have expectation. We want to gain something from this lecture at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, I'm sure that we should be able to provide some fundamental knowledge of DDM and basic knowledge of DDM tools. Then at the end of the day, we'll also be able to gain actionable insight to sharpen your career edge in this competitive world, because like chairman said in his opening remark, it's all about the data. So there's no industry or no organization that doesn't require data. So you maybe someone invited you, maybe you're not an engineer or maybe you're not a scientist, and you're wondering what is in for me, so data is for everybody. So a brief introduction. Data-driven decision making is a process of it's all about use of data and interpretation to guide us in decisions we make. So it involves collecting data, analyzing and identify different patterns and insights, and use those insights to inform decision. So this approach minimizes guesswork, instead of using your senses, so when you use this data, it minimizes guesswork and also rely on empirical evidence to make informed decisions. So from an engineer's perspective, DDM involves leveraging data to optimize system, improve processes, and enhance overall performance. So in engineering, DDM marks a significant shift from traditional intuition-based approach to decision-grounded data analysis. This transition is driven by advancement in AI, that's artificial intelligence, and machine learning, which enables the process and analysis of vast amount of data. Because data can be acquired from different sources. So these days they use tools like they use ML to do that. So let's just dive in straight into the benefit. What's the benefit of DDM in engineering? So I've highlighted a few of them. There are still so many because of time. So first of all, we're looking at from the industrial engineering aspect point of view, talking about enhanced efficiency. So data analysis tools or data analysis tools can process large volume of information quickly. So once you're able to process this, so with that it will rule out. It makes making decision fast, because you can get information quickly. So enables fast decision making. So that's why we said enhance efficiency. Then the second one, improve precision. Engineers rely on accurate data to design and optimize system, so reducing the margin of error. So decisions are based on factual data, which reduce the likelihood of error and biases. So that's why we can say to improve precision. Then if we talk about predictive maintenance, data are used to predict equipment failure and schedule maintenance and minimize downtime in organizations or maybe in a flow and so on. So you can actually use that to predict failures. Then look, the next one we're looking at innovation and improvement. First, continuous data analysis drives innovation and process of improvement, leading to better products and services. Identifying new opportunities and solutions by uncovering hidden patterns in data. So organizations leverage data can innovate and respond to market changes more effectively. Now, these days, this data can also be gotten from real time. You get real time data, more like as the data are coming in, you can actually use it you can analyze this data. So with that, it makes be able to respond to maybe if there's a shift in the market. So you'll be able to get that, pick the pattern and respond to those changes. Now, the next thing is talking about resource optimization. Allocating more efficient based on data-driven insight. So that data help allocate resource efficiently and ensuring optimal use of material, time, labor. So you can actually optimize that, the use of materials, even talking about when both employees, the number of people to employ, to allocate tax as well. So this can be achieved as well. Then lastly, increase transparency. Data-driven decision can easily justify and explain, fostering trust and accountability. Instead of using once you get this data, by the time you get used to it, it brings that trust. Be able to trust the system, the more and more when you get this data, and it can be, instead of using maybe guesswork and all that. So you be able to say there's the kind of transparency, trust from where you're getting your data and so on. Now we're looking at key components of DDM. Key components of DDM. Now the first thing is define objectives. Now, first of all, you have to set clear, outline clear goals, and question to address with the data. So knowing your audience, knowing your stakeholders, you should be able to what you really want to get from the problem. First of all, know the problem that you're trying to solve. So you be able to once you're able to define the problem you want to solve, you put it down in writing, maybe like a word, and so that will be like the focus before you start, because it's very, very important that you have a clear objective about what you want to do, because that will also determine the kind of data you're looking for, the record, maybe places what you want to add to your data. For instance, in making data engineers, they will, like, let me use school for instance. If for school, for instance, maybe they want to get data. It's all about data. Is all about the information, from people. So unprocessed information. So you need, like in school, you need to know maybe the names of people. Maybe you also want to know the location. Like if we're talking about industry, for instance, and let me say production organization, for instance, you want to know the location of your buyers, your customers, where they are, and sometimes maybe the age of the buyers, because sometimes when issues arrive, like probably, and when you dive into this data, you should be able to use that analysis to know the particular location that requires attention, or maybe for a particular product, you're looking at the age bracket of those that actually need those things. So if you have this clear objective from the beginning, then it will help you. So the next thing is data collection. So gathering relevant data from various sources includes sensors, system, databases, external sources, or user input. Some people maybe it could be like a survey where you get ask people to fill out a form, a particular form, or that. So there are many ways. So you can actually get data from different sources. Now the next is data processing. So data processing is all about cleaning and standardizing for analysis. Like I mentioned initially, when you talk about from the objective, when you know you're ordering the kind of information you need. Now, for instance, if you're peculiar about location, then that should be when you're collecting your data, that should be a required field. So meaning that anybody that did not provide that location, then that data will not be used. But even when you do this, like in the real world, after doing all this, most times people will still not give you all the information you need. Now, and when you want to analyze your data, so that's why that's important. That's why it's very important to do data cleaning, because some data might come with some null data, that's fields that are empty, and by the time you put it into your code and all that, there'll be error, or maybe the data will not actually get what you want. So that's what we mean by cleansing. So you actually do kind of remove, maybe if the person did not provide surname, then you take out that data and stuff like that. So that's what we mean by data cleansing. So the next thing is data analysis. So using statistical method, analytical tools, AI, ML to uncover patterns and insights. So that's all about analysis. Then the next is interpret results. So you translate data insight into actionable recommendations. That's by you understand the implications of the analysis and how it aligns with your objectives. So after you've done when you get analyze the data, so there have to be a place where you now have to interpret the data before we get to decision making. So applying the insight gain to make informed decisions that optimize outcomes. By this, I mean use the interpreted data to make informed decision. So after that, then you go back to mentor and evaluate. So continuously monitor the outcome of your decision and evaluate the effectiveness. So this is like a feedback loop for refined future decision making process. So it doesn't just end; it's a circle, because when during the analysis process, you can discover some patterns, and maybe that will make you now go back to your objective, then maybe make some changes, and it goes on. So monitoring and evaluation is very, very important when it comes to DDM. So the next is the tools. We're going to look at tools and techniques for data analysis. So there are also several so many tools and softwares that can be used for data analysis. First of all, talking about statistical analysis. This is like a technique. This techniques like such like regression analysis, hypothesis testing, and clustering to identify trend and relationship. So tools like arrow programming can be used for this as well. Then the next, because the data is all about for you to be able to analyze data, you need to know the history of this data. So that's why the statistics is very, very important, here. Then the next you talk about is the data visualization. So visualizing tools like MATLAB, Python, Tableau, I think Matplotlib, then Excel, Power BI, all of them helps engineers to create visual representation of data, making it easier to understand complex information. It's just like you have like your Excel where you come out with the graph, different kinds of graph, pie graph, pie chart, and all the rest. So like that. So now, but Excel is a bit limited. So there are some other tools like Power BI, Tableau, like Tableau handles big data and all that. So it's also flexible. So that's what data visualization means. Because sometimes stakeholders don't have time to look at all your data. All they want to see is results. So when you use graphical representation, it saves a lot of time because it makes it easy. Just mere sighting, looking at the graph, you'll be able to know what the problem is. Maybe if there is an increase or decrease, or probably they want to know the total amount of sales, then which area, maybe with also using pictures, using colors and all that. So you'll be able to see, just mere looking at it, you'll be able to know where the problem is from. That's why visualization is very, very necessary. Then the next is the machine learning. So machine learning algorithm such as neural network and support vector machines, they help engineers to analyze large data. Help them to analyze large data. Then they also identify patterns and make predictions. So machine learning is also can be termed as a tool. Then business intelligence. Business intelligence is more like, it's just like the data visualization. So one of the software that I use is BI platform that I use, like Microsoft Power BI, Google Data Studio, to aggregate, analyze, and visualize data. So Microsoft has really done well in the aspect of business intelligence and data analytics. Now, Microsoft came up with what they call the Power Platform, which is made of Power Automate, Power App, Power BI, and so on. So now, like most organizations that uses Office 365, the one for business, all of them, they have these features. And they also have some other collaboration tools that can be also put into that. Like it also helps you, like the Azure and talking about Teams, Microsoft Forms. They can also help you. Microsoft Forms these days can be used to collect real life data, because when used with tools like Power Automate, that flows, so you can actually link your data into your Power BI. Then the next is the big data technology. So big data technologies uses tools like Adobe and Spark to allow engineers to handle and process large volume of data as well, enabling them to analyze data from multiple sources. So Power BI too can also do that. Lastly, on the tools and techniques, we'll talk about simulation softwares. So tools like Simulink and annex. So they help engineers create simulation and models to predict system behavior and test scenario. More like before you take your data out, you can simulate it more like a test, to see how this actually works, before you take it out. Then talking about challenges. Sorry, I think a bit fast. Okay. All right. The challenges. So one of them is data quality. So it's very, very important that ensuring data accuracy and reliability of data is crucial. So implementing robust data validation and cleaning process can mitigate this issue. Like I talked about the cleaning, the example I gave about when you have null data, be able to. Now, let me just cite an instance. There was in my organization in supply chain, they have this analysis, and they call it compacts, and they were having an issue with the BI, and so they had to reach out to me for support. So me looking at the problem immediately without wasting time, I was able to pick where the issue is coming from, that it has to do with that the data was not properly cleaned, because they were doing calculation, and it has to do with time, so they were getting some kind of error. So so that's why data cleaning is very, very important, because they actually mistakenly input some null time field, more like rows where the time is empty, and they were using it to do calculation. It's just like it's like when you're multiplying empty space with 2, so there will be a problem. So that's why data cleansing is very, very necessary in terms of when you're actually dealing with large data from different sources. So you have to actually look at it very well. Then the next one is integration complexity. Integration complexity. So integrating data from various sources can be challenging. So using standardized data formats and integration tools can help. There are many, many tools for that. Then we talk about cultural shift. Fostering a data-driven culture within organization is essential. This involves training and encouraging employees to value and utilize data in their decision making. Also, data privacy and security, protecting sensitive information and complying with relations like GDPR and CCPA also. Then lastly, I'll talk about okay, I still have 2 here. Skill gap. So developing the necessary skills and expertise to analyze and interpret data effectively. So it's very, very necessary that you develop yourself, get to know the skills you need. Maybe some data science courses, or if you want to deal with, maybe probably it's you don't need to know everything about, like data science is divided into data analysis and data analytics. So there are different things, but there are also other disciplines that you can have, like be the data engineer. So who deal with maybe you need, for as a data engineer, you also need skills like SQL, which we call SQL in Nigeria, so you need to know how to use SQL and the relationship between data and all the rest. For data analysis, maybe you learn, have skills, learn to know about using BI, maybe probably Python and stuff like that. Then the data analytics, which mostly machine learning and AI and so on. So some of these tools, so you don't really need to know everything. You can just maybe from start, or things like Power Query that we all have in our Excel. So you can learn some of those tools to bridge the gap there. Then the next is resistant to change. So overcoming organization culture and resistance to adopting data practices. So, most people are, once you bring in new stuff, they don't want to try it, so it's something that's that becomes a problem, like, let's say, for instance, organizations whereby they make sure that they change the tools, maybe like the device, laptop that their workers or users are using within every 3 years. Some people say no, I'm used to this. They don't want to change it now because there are reasons why they do those changes. Or maybe like software, for instance. Let's say Windows 10, for instance, and Windows 10. Maybe you want to change to Windows 11. Some people say no, I don't want to change from Windows 10 to 11. I'm used to this. But yeah, there are some programs that might not really support those Windows 10. So that's why they're asking you to change. So you need to be, ready for change. Now let's look at, I just want to quickly run through this then so we can go into the demonstration proper, Yeah. So moderator, help me with time. Let me know if because I forgot to set the time so that I don't overshoot. Yeah, because I'm trying to also make sure we cover as much as we can cover. So talking about practical applications. Now, practical applications. So we'll start with the manufacturing, for instance. Manufacturing. Engineers use sensors. They use sensor data to monitor production line, identify bottleneck, optimize processes, leading to increased efficiency and reduction of waste. So that is another aspect whereby, so in manufacturing, so this is a place where you can apply that. Then in energy sectors, talking about, so by analyzing data from smart meters, engineers can optimize energy consumptions, manage grid operations, and also reduce energy cost. So it can be used there. Also for transportation, data analysis help engineers to design and optimize transportation system by improving traffic flow and reducing congestion. So it can also be used there as well. So then the next is the resource management. Data helps engineers to allocate resources effectively by analyzing usage pattern and demand, gotten from that. So the engineers can optimize the use of materials, time, labor, leading to cost and saving, and leading to cost saving as well, and to thereby improve productivity. The next is innovation in R&D. So driven data insight drive innovation and research development efforts. That's what we mean by R&D. That's research and development. So engineers can use this data to identify new opportunities, test hypotheses, and develop new products and technology. So like in my organization, we have a department called DNA. So this is what they do. So they have a lot of data analysts and data analytics also there as well. So they do that. So the next is safety and compliance. DDM ensures safety and compliance by monitoring and analyzing data related to equipment, that's equipment performance, environmental control, and regulatory requirements as well. Engineers can use this data to prevent accidents and ensure compliance with safety standards. So data, those data can be used, to prevent accidents from happening and stuff like that. The next is the simulation and modeling. engineers use data to create simulations and models that predict the behavior of systems under various conditions. These models help engineers to test scenarios and make informed decisions without the need for physical prototypes. So you don't need, so that's just without to be able to achieve that. The next is preventive maintenance, which I mentioned earlier, using data from sensors to predict equipment failure and schedule maintenance proactively. Design optimization. So applying data analysis to optimize design parameters and improve product performance. Then lastly here, supply chain. Now there are different areas. Apart from this, I just actually selected these areas. You like in the health sector, sports, and so on. So it can also be used. Supply chain management, leveraging data to enhance supply chain effectively, and so on. Now, the future trend, advanced analytics, the use of more sophisticated AI and ML algorithms to gain deeper insights. So future trend, that's where the future is going now, more into AI and ML. Then also real-time decision making, implementing systems that allow real-time data analysis and decision making. Like I mentioned earlier, Microsoft platform like Power Platforms. So these days you can use, probably you want to get maybe like, let me use education in talking about university system as for instance, you can create form with Microsoft forms and to be able to get data, and while you're getting your data, then probably use Power BI and Power Automate to actually more like you'll be seeing your graph grow, in real time as people are putting those stuff without you doing anything. First of all, once you do, you be able to develop that, so you don't need to do anything. At real time, you'll be able to get your data. So that's where I'm just using that like as an example. There are many other tools as well. So then talk about ethical consideration, ensuring ethical use of data, and including privacy and security concern. Now because like Power BI can be used, to get data from different sources. You can even pull data from the web, So from there, using Power Query, you just go to a particular web. Maybe you see a table and you want to use to do your analysis. Just go and get the link, put in there. It will pull all the data there, and you can use that data to do your analysis. So that's where some sites now they have to put some security. Maybe you don't want people to be able to get those data and so on, or maybe organizations whereby they also want to protect their information. Now, like with the chat GTP now going on these days, everybody, the truth is, even with a chat GTP, people have to be careful as well, because when you share your files there, these files can also, anybody can get those information that you put there. So that's why people are coming up, like Microsoft came up with Copilot. Copilot is secure than ChatGPT and stuff like that. So that's where I'm just using that as an example as well for ethical consideration. So yeah, so at this junction, I would like to stop sharing my screen. Then maybe probably we do. Let me just show us some kind of practice, because I think I've been talking too much. These are just theory. So more like if I still have like 20 minutes, do I have up to 20 minutes? How many minutes do I have?
We are written into the time just because we started late. So if you can round up, it will be good.
Okay. 10 minutes for
10 minutes.
demonstration.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. All right. So let me just stop sharing first, then.
Maybe 10 minutes more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, was this in my screen, right? Okay, all right. So
Yes, we can see it.
I'll just go straight to the Excel and Power BI since we don't really have time. So I'm not going to go to show us how to get to download Power BI. You can just Google Power BI desktop, or you go to Microsoft Store and you get Power BI desktop. So it's free, so anybody can use it. But the only thing is that you won't be able to, like Power BI, there are many features there that you cannot use, more like reports and stuff like that. You can't share your report, but you can have it on your own screen and stuff like that. So now in Excel, in I think 2007, Excel came up. They came up with adding Power BI, Power Query, to Excel, because Excel has limitation. More like you have the number of rows that one can use in Excel. Like currently, the maximum number of rows for Excel, that's when I talk about rows, like the way you have the numbering, down. So the maximum that you can use that Excel allow is 1,048,576. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, currently that's what Excel allows, and that's from 2007. Before then, in 2003, the maximum rule Excel can allow is 65,530. Then maximum number of column was 256. But now maximum number of column is now 16. So why am I saying that? So it has some limitations. So you won't be able to allow you to pull so much data. And also when you're dealing with so much data, it slows down. So that's why. So that's the limitation. But when the data you're using is very small, you can actually use Excel. So now they introduced Power Query. If you can see my screen somewhere here, once you go to from your tab, initially this was called menu, but now it's called tab, where you have your file, home, and all the rest. And if you go to data, so this is where all the data analysis, everything happens under data. So if you go there, you see get data. So under this get data, so this get data is for querying. So it's just like so from here you can get data from different source and also use it to do your cleansing and all that. So because we have 10 minutes, let me just, because Power BI has this already, so let me just end that. So this is where you find it, and you can also pull the data from CSV and so on, even data from PDF as well. You can also read data from PDF. So let me just go straight to the Power BI. So Power BI desktop. Okay, so this is what Power BI looks like. So from here, you can actually get your data, like say get data from other source. So it gives you, there are sources where you can get your data. You have from Excel, you have, and so on. You have import from SQL Server and so on. So now if you look at it, these are different sources, like you see Excel, you have text, even from text, you can get data from that, XML, JSON folder. Now, the good thing about like this particular folder, let me explain, for instance, like, let's say in your organization, you get data from, let's say from email, and they send you maybe Excel, the same name, data with the same name, and they have different information. And sometimes maybe, let's say the number of rows you have is 10, for instance, and the next month you get the same data, maybe they now added three more rows, stuff like that, So instead of going back, so when you use folder, if you put your Excel, your table in those folders, Power BI and Power Query can help you to query and merge all those stuff together, then remove duplicates. So it's important. So just go and drop the stuff. It makes your work easy for you. So that's where folders are used for that, to merge stuff like that. You can get it from folder, from, like I said, PDF and so on. So many of them, you can get it online. You can get from the web, get from SharePoint folders and all that. So let me just pick Excel, for instance, to demonstrate. So I say connect. Now I go to my desktop and I want to use this sample Superstore data. All right. So once you see now it's pulling, is giving me different records that I have, tables. So it can pick from your sheet, it can pick tables and so on. So I have like 3 tables. So I've selected the 3 tables. We have order, return, and users. So the next thing is I can load this or transform, but I will just go to transform data. So like this, so what I'm doing now, I'm demonstrating is the data collection, analysis, and processing. So I'm doing all of them together. So that's what, come in, share my screen. Okay, yeah, so once I click on transform data, so these are the tables we have. Like, so this is more like for an organization that does maybe like production or whatever into sales. So they have orders, these are their return orders, and these are their users. So the table, first of all, they have the table, this is the content we have, the region, the central, east, south, west, the managers, people in charge for that. Then you have returns, all the stuff that return, then these are all their orders, So with this, now the next thing you need to do, like for you to do your data cleansing, you check through these tables and check if there are empty, like null entry. So first of all, you clear, make sure that there is no null entry, especially when it has to do with numbers for measures. So you make sure you do that. Then also, then probably if you want to do some measures like that has to do with calculation and all that. So with these two, you can create your own tables for the purpose what you want to do, and you can also bring in multiple tables from different sources. So yeah, so you can also rename the tables, maybe change the format. Is it let's see, like if this is for number, you can change the format. If it's text, you can do all that. But we don't have time to do that now. So I just go straight to close our table, apply the changes. Sorry, this is taking more than expected. Load. Okay, so now I have all my tables. So the next line is, now you can see this from there to check the relationship between tables. Like the reason is some, like for, let me use school for instance, organization whereby there are numbers, like when you talk about, because when you're also doing your data cleansing, there are some data that will require the primary keys, require where you will not allow more than one entry. Like for school, for instance, matric number, only one person has matric number, so you don't have duplicate records, so you do that as well. Then also, so it depends on, so primary keys are very, very important because you use that also to check for relationship. Like here where you have your customer ID, order ID and stuff like that. So you can actually check for relationship here with this data because it helps you to when you want to. So this is what the visual looks like in Power BI. So now when you look at this from this side of the table, so from there we can actually do do our analysis. For instance, let's say we want to know the number of orders that were returned or users and all that. So there are many. Just take your cursor to this to tell you most of the kind of charts you have there. Like, let me just bring one, and I end because I know I've already exhausted our time. So once you select this, the next thing will be just the way you do your graph. You want to know the x-axis and the y-axis. What are you looking at and all that? So if it's order, we're looking at what do we want to? I need a city. Let me come in. Yeah. So you build your analysis based on the data you have, and also use your visualization. So there are different type of visualization. You also Power BI allows you to put in Python and also like Arrow that I mentioned initially. So you can use them to do this. So because of time, I think I've already exhausted the 10. If we want to go into this deeply, maybe the department can be thinking of doing maybe a boot camp for stuff like this, where you take enough time. We can now really dive into this for those that will be interested to know. Thank you so much. So I would like to conclude by saying, in conclusion, that data-driven decision making is essential for engineers to optimize system, improve process, and enhance overall performance. So by leveraging data analysis tools, engineers can make informed, accurate, and strategic decisions. This approach is not only, or the approach does not only improve efficiency and productivity, but also drives innovation and ensure safety and compliance. However, it is crucial to address challenges such as data quality, privacy, and skills development to fully utilize the benefit of DDM. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Arao, for the beautiful lecture. And I believe our students, our master students that are present, and everybody that are present here have gained one thing or the other. And from what he is mentioned and discussed with us, we can see that from one of the notable person in the world, W. Edwards Deming, who says, without data, you are just another person with an opinion. So mostly we'll see that we just try to create opinion every time in our country. Many people, you see them on TV and they are discussing without data. They are just saying whatever comes out from their mouth, but it's just your opinion. But if you are able to give facts with data, then you will be taken serious and say, okay, based on what this person says, this is the fact. If you check it, you see there. So we have to make decision based on what? Based on data. And as an engineer, we must at every point in time to ensure that we back our talk with data and figure. So without wasting time, I will call on the chairperson to give us his remarks, and that is Professor Funlade, based on what the guest lecturer has discussed. We'll call on Professor Funlade to give us his remarks. Hello, sir. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Prof, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
unmuted.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Okay. Okay. Possibly. Before we have Professor Funlade, maybe I will call on one of our fathers in the department, in person of Professor Olule, to give us kind of remarks on the discussion of today. Then after then, I will call on Professor Funlade, then Professor Akombi to also give us a kind of remarks on the discussion. Professor Olule, sir.
Good evening. I hope you can hear me. Well,
Yes, sir.
It's been a pleasure listening to what is possible. Data is a new gold, and I hope each one of us will get on the bandwagon and see what we can do to make sure that decision making is data-based. As a matter of fact, I don't think we make decisions if there's no basic data. And with the evolution of computing power and all other things getting cheaper somehow, and miniaturization with more power, I think an AI, a lot can easily be done. And so I think the lesson for each and every one of us here is how to go and learn new things and relearn old, whatever, drop off the old ones and get into using data for day-to-day living, even in personal lives. And I think for Nigeria, for example, it should open up a new world for us to begin to compete with other nations. And like they say, maybe the last can actually be the first, knowing fully well how dedicated Nigerians can be if they have a belief. So we thank Engineer Charles Arawo for the masterful delivery. Unfortunately, you didn't have enough time to really demo many things, which will have shown the power of some of those tools. So thank you so much. I think I'll get a chance towards the end to say official thanks to all the other, the chairman, the special guests, and all the others. So it's been a useful discussion, several insights, which will all prove useful to each and every one of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Then I'll call on Professor Funlade now. You can unmute yourself, sir. Okay, good.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Leye. Thank you for that talk this speech you just had. Engineer Charles, thank you very much for your talk. It's very interesting, and I think I learned something really, one or two things from your talk. Thank you very much. As Professor Oludeye said, data is the new gold. Uh, Data is very, very important, and I can say that without quality data, one is probably wasting time with data analysis they might be doing. Um, Quality decision making, as we said, relies on data. And as Engineer Charles said, we also need tools. We need tools. All the BIs that we are doing depends on um, the tool we're using and understanding of the tools as well. I maybe have one question, Engineer Charles, if you can still quickly ask answer. I know you did quite some work a while back, maybe is it 2012 that you and Prof published your paper My question is, what has changed since then? I mean, what direction is this data um, taking us, and the decision making that we make with the quality data that we have? What should we be expecting in the future? What are the directions of uh, advances, and how can those advances help us improve the quality of our decision? If you are still there, I probably would like to hear that from an expert like you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for that talk. During the question and answer, Engineer Charles, you will be able to respond to what Prof said, and I guess you'll have written the question down. If not, I have a bit of it here, and I can raise it for you. Quickly, I will call on Professor Akombi to also give us his own remarks on this discussion. Hello, sir. Professor Akombi. I think he's not available presently. Okay.
Yeah, from Special Guest of Honor.
Yes, that's what I want to do now. So I'll call on our mother, Professor Oshofison, to quickly give us our own remark on this. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, moderator. And Dr. Charles, I really like to thank you. It's like you have taken us from starting from documentary application when we got more of what data analysis is all about. And at the same time, we need to follow exactly what the thing started from everybody wants to use the data to talk about one problem is well defined. Also have price data property claims. And after that, they took us to everything that we have from data. Because there's something also called data and data. I also told us about how pattern, when you use all this, come to a pattern. And it's very, very important for us to analyze data and interpret data and analyze pattern and interpret pattern. That's true that you are taking into what mind. So chapter of the book data mining. So I'd like to thank you and also told us to tell what you can use all those things for. Some of them that for in the science. It's a bit like I said before, I wish data science students and products are also around, but they are just there. And I also like the fact that shows all that you mentioned, some of them are there, some of them are very good. And I think the organizer like West said, that have another session. Yeah, you can take us because we do have some time. Take us the particular aspect. You are really like done job, good justice topic, and somehow they have get in touch with you, like I said, data is my life and data my life. So I like to get to more in the life that I would like I said, when we use our data in some of the things without so just Ramo and that thing. And I also like to thank the organizer. I also like to thank Professor Oladuko, because everybody, Professor Luda here. I also like to thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma. Well, now, before we go to the question and answer, the first questions that Professor Funlade asked, Engineer Charles will first of all deal with that. And then for everybody that is there, if you have questions to ask, please let's get it ready either by sending it to the chats or you can signify. But before that, I'll just quickly make an announcement that the 29th edition of our program, the IPA Alumni Lecture, will come up on February 14th, which is going to still be on Friday. It's going to be February 14th. And the lecturer will be Engineer Ayodele Oluleye. Is the head data and insight ARM old company. The title is going to be Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Work. It's always an engineer's perspective that we want to look at because most of us we are engineers. So the title, once again, is going to be AI and the Future of Work, an engineer's perspective. With that, I will call on Engineer Charles to respond to Professor Funlade's question before we ask other questions.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think that's a very good question. Yeah, from the slide, almost the last slide when I talked about future trend. So I think that's just little part of it when I talked about advanced analytics and also also talking about AI and so on. And I think even the next lecture is almost like a follow-up of this because they are also talking about AI. So because that's the future of DDM now, talking about AI and machine learning. Because AI and machine learning is continuously evolving and all that. So it's one of the area where data is also going. Like even the tools, when we talk about the tools that we're using to actually do this analysis. Now in a way they made it so easy with the help of AI. It doesn't really require much coding. Like you don't need to know how to code to be able to do some of this stuff. So this is what AI is doing as well. Like in some companies, like chat, for instance, you can actually chat with a robot, almost as if you're chatting with a human. So all these were achieved with data and data analysis and all. So that's where we're looking at. And I also talked about data privacy and security, which is also key because now that you can access data from anywhere of the world, so there are still some loopholes talking about security and all that. So that's so that's why talking about cybersecurity and all that now. So it's also going towards that. Then cloud and edge computing. These days now talking about no more on-premise data and all that. So most data are being put on the cloud. So with that, it makes it easy for you, even when you want to get real-time data for your maybe your business or your organization or stuff like that. So also the data is also going towards that cloud and then cloud. That's talking about cloud now, all that. So then knowledge of management as well. So knowledge and I think, well, let me just end there. So maybe I believe that will answer your question. So we can also take other questions. But if you still have any other question, you can maybe private chat me, or maybe we can even take it offline. We can also talk about that. I hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Engineer Charles. We'll now open the floor for questions from the audience, the participants, so that if we have any concerns in terms of the discussion, in terms of how we can learn, improve our skills, and where we can get some information how we can get links, documents, and so on, then we can raise it. Any question? Okay. People are now raising their hand. So I have one or two questions for you, Engineer Charles.
Okay.
Maybe we all can also learn from it. So I have one question. I said, from your lecture, how does an engineer perspective influence the selection and prioritization of metrics in data-driven decision-making process?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So as engineer, it's all about application of applied science, right? So when some of as engineer and with the knowledge of mathematics we have, statistics and stuff like that, it helps, especially during when during the analysis, when you want to make measures and stuff like I remember the example I cited when the supply chain, they were having issues. Now it was difficult for them to know what the issue was, that you can't use null entry to multiply with numbers and stuff like that. So so using those techniques, your knowledge of mathematics, statistics, and all that, it helps as well. And probably when there is a problem, it's easy for you to quickly, fetch out the problem and solve them because of those skills that you have. So which is an advantage. Anybody can actually become a data engineer, but the truth is having those skills place you at an advantage. Like also when you want to do it, like some of them, like I talked about Python and all the rest too, some of them requires some coding, some kind of mathematical stuff. So with that knowledge of mathematics, it's something that helps you, especially when you want to dive deep into analysis and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's
okay.
Your question.
It answers it. Do we have any other person that wants to ask any question from the audience? Yeah, I have a second question, and I think that will be all. How do an engineer balance the trade-offs between data-driven insights and intuitive experience-based decision-making in complex problem-solving scenario? How do we balance the trade-off?
Can you repeat that again? Let me.
So as an engineer, how do
Yeah.
we balance the trade-offs between data-driven insight and intuitive experience-based decision-making in complex problem-solving problem?
Okay. First, as an industrial engineer, with experience, sometimes it helps. It helps you to, sometimes you want to maybe use the experience that you've gotten, to make decisions, But the fact is, it's irrespective of having those experiences and all that, data is still the key. Like I talked about, first of all, talking about statistics, history. Now, before you even talk about the feature of any data, you have to look at the origin, looking at the history. Then with some of our mathematical tools, like some of the statistics we knowledge, regression and all that, we can also bring that in with the courses that we've learned, try to marry it, but even with that, without using just feelings or guesswork and stuff like that. So you have to look for a way of bringing them to be able to make people see the reason why, because like Prof. Lule was talking about, when you don't have quality data, then some people, like I believe someone like him, you can't just go to him and say anything. You have to show, maybe using data and stuff like that. So you have to look for ways to blend the two.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So just now, people are now responding with questions, but I will not take much of our time now. We'll just call on one person from the audience, which is Engineer Oyewumi, to just ask his question. And after then, I will call on Professor Lule to, I think he said he would like to also give us a tips or discussion. So I'll call on him. But now I'll call on Engineer Oyewumi to quickly ask his question, so that we can call it. Yeah, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
I see that this is a very interesting subject, and as an aircraft engineer, which I am, and I want to believe that this will really help in making decisions, and because I also manage the aspect of accident investigation. Number one, how do I get the knowledge of this in order for me to apply it, even though I have an Excel knowledge, but with the Power BI and Python and also some of those things you mentioned, I think it will be very, very important. So, how do I get the knowledge, and how can we, as aircraft engineer, aeronautic, how do we use it in order to, get an optimal, and safe airspace, safe flight, safe thing in safety generally?
Okay. Yeah, so first of all, talking about how to get this knowledge, these things are out there, on the internet. You just go to Google and check. Now they have Udemy, even in LinkedIn, you can see some courses. If you go to YouTube, even on YouTube, you just type data analysis. You can see some past bootcamp that was done by people. So from that, you can actually get to know this stuff. Like I would recommend places like YouTube. So when you're using YouTube, and also get the apps, so you can actually be listening, and more like it's interactive. Demonstrate, right? You do it yourself and stuff like that. Then these days, Microsoft also, they are organizing events where they teach people for free. Stuff like this. Maybe it can be Power BI, it can be Power Automate and stuff like that. So if you go to their site and you can register for those events. But the thing is, when you're registering for the event, you have to pick maybe like if they have for this month and they have next month, maybe 2-3 months, because many people go in. So it's first come first serve. So so just keep applying, and before you know it, they will invite you. And during their training, they provide materials, a lot of materials, maybe like tables and stuff like that. And while they are doing it, they give you time. But sometimes it's usually a full day training. Like, let's say if you're talking about Power Automate already, it might be a full day. Just be ready for like 8 hours that you're going to dedicate for that day for that. So they'll give you breaks in between, give you work to do, and at the end of the day, they will issue you some kind of certificates. Then, if you intend to go higher, they can subsidize it for you as well. Then during the training, they also open to give you some free period where you can use some of those to see all those premium aspect as well to do so. That's one. Then yes, it can be applied. Like I talked about, first of all, it's all about defining your objective first. What do you want? Once you have a well-defined objective, then you should be able to know the kind of data you're looking for. So with that, then I think it's something that can be applied anywhere.
Yeah, thank you. Now I'll call on Prof is raising their hand. Yes.
Let me just chip in.
There's a question on the chat from one engineer, Asprof, and I think we should answer that question.
Okay, I've sent it to engineer chat, but okay, you can answer it.
Engineer, sorry, excuse me, Engineer
Okay.
Oyewumi, let me do a bit of
advert, I want to encourage you to come and apply for our Masters of Engineering Management, okay, in the Department of Industrial and Production Engineering. You have opportunity to learn more things, and it's a program designed for experienced people like you, where you find many of these tools. So that may be a very good place to also start. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Engineer Charles, you can go ahead with the question.
Okay, so I think the question is what's the future of research? Okay, okay. All right. Operation research. Well, these are part of some courses I did that made me even go towards IT and stuff like, because some of the tools we use in operation research, like I remember the very first when I did operation research, we talk about there's a software called Tutorial. I don't know if you remember stuff like that. So from there, when I started doing that, then I discovered that there are some limitations in that software. Then Excel also helps a lot, like what if analysis, for operation research, and that's all about data analysis. So so for operation research, using Power BI or all these data visualization tools is also a very good one, and knowledge of Python as well. It will help you, like some of all the software that have been developed in the past. Some of them, they have limitations, so you can even come up with your own programs, to solve all these problems and even get it faster than manually going to use all the methods, and all that. So it's a very good area where you can, like, sorry, I'm trying to, at the same time, trying to read your questions and also to answer your questions, so I don't miss machine learning. Yeah, so machine learning can also be used, in operation research. In fact, in almost everywhere. What machine learning, there are programs, like in operation research, we have some formulas, so, and also when you bring in your data, so the machine learning can be used, to study those data and actually give you, solutions. So it's something that can be used. AI, machine learning, it can be applied in operation research, and make your work easier and faster. Also, big data and all the rest. So instead of dealing with, because when you're calculating using the knowledge you have, the formulas to do your calculations, it's very, very difficult when you want to deal with millions of data. So when you use all these tools, they help you solve your problem quickly and fast. Yeah.
Thank you. So just to chip into that question, yes, machine learning can be merged together with operations research. And if you go to Google, you can you can search for operation research tools that you can use, which is on Google. Also, is Google that made it. So with that, you can do your different operations research problems, like whether it's going to be linear programming, whether it's MILP, which is mixed integer linear programming, and so on. And also you can develop your own module by yourself, either using Python. You can build it with Python, you can build it with R, you can build it with MATLAB, which is more friendly to academics, and so on. So, but basically, if you want to do that, what you have to do is to start from the basic principle, which is what we learn from statistics. I remember we learned about what we call Fibonacci and some regression analysis, all those. These are the things that combines together that are built in the AI models. And if you as an industrial engineer, you can really match the operation research problems that you've known, the tools that you've learned, like MILP, LP problem, and so on, into this artificial intelligence or machine learning that you want to understand. So that's what I would just say.
So just to add to that as well, like I mentioned, because I just saw it now, you're talking about the future. So the future is still integration of artificial intelligence and big data analytics and so on. So that's where operational research is also heading as well.
Prof.
Yes, that question is an interesting one also. One of the things you should know is that when you build your model, or your operation research model, you know that you are basically in containing two components: your variables, your decision variable, and your parameters. If you check most of the assumptions we make in our parameters, and you know those parameters with certainty. You know that's why most of your models are deterministic models. But in real life, the parameters are never known with certainty. They are supposed to be product of data. A simple parameter as price of diesel, for example, you are just using the average. But as we go into machine learning data decision, you now have tools to help you generate those parameters, okay, which are constant. So when you write out your models, see those coefficients behind your models, whichever models you have, ideally they are mostly stochastic processes. So what our guest lecturer has told us now is that we have powerful tools to help us make use of ways of generating those parameters, so that when you build your models now, you can go to sleep and your model will be more robust. You know, when you do your sensitivity analysis, some of those models, if your parameter just change a little, they become non-valid. You know, especially in a country like Nigeria, where we experience a lot of changes. So I want to see data analytics as some of the way to make our models more realistic. And so people like us should be interested in learning those two, so that we not be assuming deterministic all the time, when actually you can go out there and get the data and have powerful machine to help us look at the data, so that we can fine-tune our models.
Thank you, sir, for that beautiful response to the questions. I'll call on Professor Lule to give us the tips that he wants to. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, actually, mine is the vote of thanks. I don't know if we're there now.
Oh, not yet, sir.
Yeah, well,
Yet,
I think I did speak earlier, and I think the challenge for us is to get our hands on these tools. I remember once I had to go to Abuja myself to learn Power BI, and I had to take another course after the first one. The first one was physical, second one was online, and it was an eye-opener for me. And what we'll find out, just like Professor Ladokun just said, we've put our hands to solve a lot of deterministic problems, but life is not a straight line. As a matter of fact, you find out that you can get more accurate results if you have data at your beck and call. And so all these things we're talking about, analytics, really matter. And I think for Nigeria today, I think as Professor Osofisio said, we should be knocking our heads against real life problems. I was talking to somebody some days back, and I said, we're touching too many buttons, and we're touching the buttons without data. If you change the price of this, so many other things change. And everybody's running like the cockroach, trying to make the best profit, only to find out that you make losses, because we are all ignoring the power of data, and we're not ready for the rigor of sitting down to collect. In fact, the rigor of analysis has been reduced by AI and all these tools. That used to be where the rigor was. But now the real challenge is, how do you collect, and how do you make sure that it's as accurate as possible? So the challenge remains, and I think for me, my recommendation is that we all pick it up and try the best we can. So this will be what I say at this point. Thank you.
Prof is raising a hand again.
Yeah, because I didn't want to talk before, but I think because somebody said something about vision, how are we going to do that? One, going to all about machine. Actually, that's why AI comes. By the time you go into the era of science, that the vision, because what does AI, what is it all about? Thinking, man brain, and all of that. So by the time we go in there to AI, find that vision just starts. So I just said that.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I'll call on Engineer Rawa to give his final remarks. Then before I call on Prof to give vote of thanks again. So, Engineer Rawa. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank the department for organizing a program such as this. Well, because of time, the time difference where I am, I think this is the first time when I'm actually staying, this, but it's really, really interesting, so I really want to applaud the department and the organizers, for this. And like I mentioned earlier as well, looking at the time we have, that some of these topics they are not things that we can, actually cover in a day. So they can also be looking at of organizing boot camps where you can, maybe for students and people that are also interested, where we can have hours allocated for things like this, not just the theory, to teach people and to so that they can lay their hands on this, and also to increase filling that knowledge gap. So I really want to appreciate everyone again, once more, for giving me the opportunity to be the guest speaker. There are so many people out there, but you decided to choose me to be the one to bring this lecture to you today. And I hope that we all learned something new today. Thank you.
Hello, Prof. The vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. I think for me, it's a pleasure and also a privilege to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the Industrial Engineering Alumni Association, the IPEAA. And the topic of today is quite an interesting one, data-driven decision-making. And what we've seen is an engineer's perspective, what we've heard. And starting from the main actor of today, Engineer Charles Arawo, thank you very much for your thought-provoking insights into how data transforms engineering decision-making. And I'm sure all the ideas we've heard from you and from the discussions will resonate with each and every one of us for a long time. Maybe I should say I'm not surprised, because if I was stopped on the road and asked, do you know Charles Arawo? I'll say yes without looking at any files. I remember you quite clearly, and it's good to see that the seed that was sown some years back has grown into an oak. So congratulations, thank you. Wish you all the best in your endeavors. I would also like to thank the chairman, Dr. Funlade Sumola. When he mentioned 1985-86, my mind went back to when, I'm not sure if it was said, but Dr. Sumola was the first MSc graduate from the department. I mean, he was the first to brave that path. And I remember him very clearly. And we thank him for the interest he's taken in the activities of the department, and also help him with the DBA, I mean, the Doctor of Engineering program, which we're still working on. So, sir, thank you very much. We hope to see you sometime if we get the chance to visit. Also, well, somehow Professor Oyawale couldn't be with us physically, guest of honor, but he's still very active. I was part of a PhD panel with him at Covenant, and we wish him well also, and for not forgetting the department where he was head some time back. I would like to thank especially the special guest of honor, Professor Adenike Osofison, as introduced. She's a lady with many firsts, and she wears many hats, or maybe I should also say many geles. I've had the chance to work with her on at several levels, and it's quite always an exciting time to see the interest she puts and the energy she puts into anything in which she has an interest. So thank you, Ma, for being part of our department, whether virtually or always, but thank you for the interest. And also, we mustn't forget the host, Professor Ladokun, who has driven the department. Thank you for your support and your vision and encouragement for making sure that things continue to run smoothly, not only in the department, but for shaping the IPEAA community. We mustn't forget the engagement team who have worked meticulously to plan and coordinate what we are seeing here today and what we've all been a part of. Along with the engagement team, we'd also like to thank the Tango team who are behind the scenes. And to the moderator, thank you for skillfully guiding us into this session. And our prayer is that we will all take something away today. We will not be like the river where water continues to flow in without flowing out. We'll make something out of what we've shared today. So once again, we'd like to thank even all the members of staff of IPE. Thanks for supporting the head and the department, the family, and for each and every one of us who has played a role today, and all those who have attended and asked questions. We say that, I would say today has been a resounding success, and we look forward to seeing many of you at future programs. So have a wonderful evening and stay inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And for now, we now come to the end of the today's program. We should not forget that on the 14th of February, we're going to have the next program, which is going to be the 29th, and the title is AI and the Future of Work. And the lecturer will be Engineer Yodele Oluleye. That's it on the screen. Thank you all, and have a good night. We can do some back-end discussion if we want.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to thank the lecturer for his generous donation to the department.
Yeah.
Made a massive donation of ₦1 million to us.
Oh, great.
Plus on equipment.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We want to thank Charles for his generosity.
Thank you,
Bless you.
engineer.
Thank you, everyone.
Prof, sir,
Yes, sir.
when you said engineer Yodele Olule, yeah,
Yes.
this is confusing, sir.
Ayodele is Muyiwa's brother now.
Well, maybe we could put in the initial because
Yeah.
Ayodele ni. Ayodeji ni bàbá Ayodele ni.
Oh, Ayodeji ni prof.
Ayodeji ni
Oh,
prof, so
that's
kò sí
true.
confusion.
Totally.
That is why I was confused. So
No.
Yeah, same here as well when I saw it.
Yeah. I was like, engineer, why don't you call prof?
No, Ayodele
Just,
ni. So it's
Prof, sir, I
yes,
think
sir.
this discussion is very good in terms of the data driven that we discuss. And
Yeah.
data is the art of everything. But OpenSea or not in the sense that, like me now, I'm a software developer.
Mhm.
And before we can develop something, we must have data. So the data people will do their own. We have the data engineer, we have the cybersecurity. The students, the master students should pick interest in any area they want because that's the future, and we should not just be listening to it and not using it well. Because, for example, as soon as I finished my PhD, I just said, "Oh, I think this is the direction that the world is going to. I need to learn it." And coupled with the fact that in my PhD, I developed a software that a company is using, even though I was not paid. So with that, I said I have to pick interest in it, and I major in Salesforce developer, Salesforce, which is more like SAP. We are the back end that
Many of our
develop
guys are doing, they are doing wonderful. Most of them, even from BSc level, you see many of them they're learning, they are doing certification, many of them are even startup before they left school.
Yes. I know of Waris. I know
many
Waris
of them. Some of the most powerful fintech in Nigeria now are run by our students. And some of them they started when they were on campus. So they are picking the stories, and many of them are on this platform.
Yeah, great.
You know,
great.
once we show them
the direction.
Hello?
Yeah, we are with you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know that you don't run come out to go Canada.
Yeah. His appearance doesn't look like somebody who's not with us. So.
I have to represent.
I can see
I have to represent.
I can see.
I like him. He represents us.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
If not, I would say if we are from Ife, I would say learning and culture.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. That's nice.
Engineer Tijani, ojú yín mo ń wò yìí.
Mo rí mú ìwà náà wà ń bẹ̀. Mo sọ̀rọ̀
ní. Àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa ni àwọn bàbá department nìyẹn. Engineer Tijani ẹ ṣeun. Ojú yín làwọn àmọ́ ní yín báwo.
Mi ò rí Dr. Kọ́láwọlé.
Even though you see, because of this bandwidth, now many people are not on video.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the problem. So evening, Tijani, good to see your face this 2025.
I can see Tijani. I can see.
Okay, sir. I want to drop now and go back to work.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right,
we are finished.
I will connect with you on
Musaya, God bless you.
Okay.
So many wonderful people. Even our own senior engineer Fashola is here. God bless Engineer Fashola for coming. God bless you, sir. So many wonderful people. Thank you.
I think I could see Engineer Paleye also. Dr. Kolaole has already mentioned that he's here. Yes, sir, we are greeting you in the house. Yes, we are greeting you powerfully, sir.
Dr. Paleye is in the house.
Oh, they are muted. Okay, that's the truth.
Let me see if I can unmute or.
Oh, yeah.
There we can ask.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Dr. Ajishegiri.
Ah,
Thank you, Prof.
Thanks
for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
ẹ jẹ́ ká ẹ jẹ́ ká rojú yín o Dr. Opaleye still there. Dr. Opaleye, are you there? Oh, she has left.
Àwọn ti sọ̀rọ̀ nísìnyí.
Ó sáré yọjú.
What do I do?
Badmus, let me see your face for
Exit
this
meeting now.
25 if you are there.
Dr. Ajishegiri.
I can send for all, Abi.
Yes. So far muted.
Okay. Good night. The tanker guys asked me to end the meeting for.
Okay.
So he can stop the live stream.
Okay.
Thank you.
Engineer Okpadare. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Good night.
We'll meet next month.
Good
night from Nigeria.
Engineer Akishegiri well.
Agbosa, she's behind me trying to listen. Agbosa. Yes, sir. Oda, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oda, bye.
Oda, sir. Yeah.